Hello, my name is Kivana, and I am a music therapy student, which means that I'm studying to become a board certified music therapist. And for those of you wondering who a music therapist is or what a music therapist does, um, basically, music therapy is the use of music to achieve lots of different types of goals. So, music can help us in so many ways. It can help us process our emotions, express our emotions that maybe we haven't been able to put into words before or express in any other way. It can help us maybe feel connected to people, help us feel socially connected to people, or gain some social interaction, practice social interaction. It can help us become more self aware, and it can help us be mindful and more observant of our surroundings and of life in general. And so today, that's actually what I would like to talk to you guys about and focus on and practice with you guys is being mindful. And what is mindfulness? It's really the art of being observant. And so we want to talk about being observant today and specifically observing the good because with everything that's going on in our world, there's a lot of good to be observed that maybe it's hard for us to see right now. And so I'd like to talk about that and maybe help us continue to just dispel negative thought patterns, elevate our moods if we're feeling down, and help us continue to practice hope and practice optimism. So, I have a song for you guys that is pretty well known by some. It's What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. It's a very beautiful song, it's a very descriptive song. And so today we're going to use this song to practice observing the good, to practice being mindful for our first exercise. And so there are lots of things that you can focus on in terms of the lyrics of this song. If you guys happen to have a pen or paper around you, anything to write with, anything to write on, you can write these things down, or you can make a mental note of them, or you can draw. So I'd like you guys to either think of the nature words in this song. So there's a lot of nature in this song, a lot of nature words, things in nature that the lyricist describes. So feel free to focus in on every time there's a word about nature. The second option is you can write about the words that are colors. So anything that describes a color in the song, there are lots of descriptive words about colors in the song. So you can focus either on the nature, which is the first option, the color, just the second option, or third, you can just paint a mental picture or even a physical one if you have something to draw with in front of you of whatever comes to mind when you're thinking of this song, when you're listening to the song and the words. So those are the three options. You can focus on the nature words, you can focus on the color words, or you can focus in on just creating a mental picture and writing it down, possibly if you have something in front of you. So, here we go. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do. They're really saying I love you. I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know, and I think to myself, wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, "How do you do?" They're really saying, "I love you." I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yeah, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. This is such a beautiful song because it's so descriptive and it talks about all of the good that the lyricist or the person that wrote the song sees in the world. So I want to talk about what kinds of things we tend to see in our world, and especially right now in this climate with everything that's going on with COVID-19. What kinds of things do we tend to see or notice around us every day as we go throughout the day? And what words can we use to describe maybe the thoughts that have been going on in our heads based on what we've been observing? Maybe a lot of it's just not pretty, a lot of it's not good. Maybe we're watching the news a lot, maybe we're trying to stay, up to date on the latest of the virus and everything that we can do to protect ourselves and each other. But there's also a lot of good going around. There's also a lot of good circulating in the news, in media, social media, and just around us immediately. And so the next exercise that I want to do with you guys is another observation exercise. And it's really simple. I want you guys to do it with me. So we're going to take a look around us and we're going to do something called the 5 senses observation. So first, I want you to look around you and think of, make a mental note of, or you can write down again if you have something to write with, 5 things that you can see. 5 things that you can see. Right now I see light outside my window. I see flowers. I see a book on a bookshelf. I see a mirror. And I see a jacket. 5 things. So when you've thought of those 5 things, now I want you to move on and think of 4 things that you can hear. 4 things that you can hear around you. It might be really noisy where you are. It might be really quiet where you are. And try to think of 4 things that you can hear. Right now I can hear the sound of a plane outside. A plane may be landing. I can hear the creaking of floorboards as people walk across them. Probably my neighbors. I can hear the TV playing downstairs. That's 3 things. And I can hear the wind. Okay, so when you've thought of 4 things that you can hear, we're going to move on, and I want you to think of 3 things that you can touch around you. Observe 3 things that you can touch. Right now I'm touching this guitar. I can feel paper from a notebook. And I can feel this blanket that is next to me. All right, when you've thought of 3 things that you can touch or feel, think of 2 things that you can smell. This one might be a little harder depending on where you are, what time of day it is. For some of you, it might be a meal time and you might be able to smell food or a drink. Depending on where you are, you might be able to smell the smell of disinfectant or some kind of cleaning agent. 2 things that you can smell. And lastly, think of 1 thing that you can taste. This may or may not be the hardest one, but think of 1 thing that you can taste. If it's not something in your immediate surroundings, maybe think of something you want to taste, some favorite food or drink that you have been craving or that you're craving right now. But 1 thing that you can imagine and taste. So in doing what we just did, the 5 senses observation, we're practicing our observation skills and just observing and being mindful of the things that are around us. So some things to think about with both exercises that we just did, with the song, What a Wonderful World, and with the 5 senses observation. What are we noticing as we go throughout our day? What kinds of things are we noticing? Can we describe them? And do we notice even the people around us? There probably aren't too many people around us because we're all practicing social distancing right now. But there's lots of things maybe in maybe just 1 person that you've been able to see or come in contact with. Maybe you might be with a family member. Maybe you're with a doctor or a nurse, any healthcare professional. Are you observant of who you're with and what's around you? And can you find the good in what's around you? So this song uses descriptive language. It says trees of green, red roses, bright, blessed day, dark, sacred night. It's very descriptive. So as we go throughout our days from now on and we try to observe the good, observe some positive things in our days, let's try to be descriptive when we observe. So we want to think about maybe observing 3 positive things about our day from here on out and being able to describe those things. So today I was able to eat a warm, home-cooked meal for lunch. And that is something that is good and that I'm grateful for. That's something that I can describe and remember. So something that you can describe, 3 things that you can describe that are positive about your day. Try to observe those. Write them down if you want to, which is a really good way to remember to read them, put them where you can see them, and remind yourself that there is still good in the world, even today, even in this climate and the things that we are experiencing right now as a nation and as a world. And another thing that you can do, something else that you can observe maybe, is another person, maybe somebody, maybe it's one person. Even though we're all practicing social distancing, there's still probably at least one person, even if they're not immediately around you. Maybe it's somebody that you can think of that just brightens your day. 3 positive things about another person. Try to observe 3 positive things about another person. It's really helpful when we try to stay optimistic and to practice optimism and hope and positivity. It's really helpful to look outside of ourselves and our circumstances sometimes and think about that one person, somebody that brightens your day. Or maybe it's just somebody in your surroundings. Maybe if you're in the hospital, it's a doctor or a nurse that's taking care of you. You know, someone that has come into your room. Try to observe 3 things about that person. And so these are just some helpful ways to continue to practice observing and observing the good. And so whenever you think of this song, What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong, try to think of the perspective of that author of the song. And remember that there is still a lot of good to see and to observe in the world. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for participating, and I will see you next time. Bye.